Yo, yo, yo. I'm back. I hope I've been missed a bit. Definitely missed you guys. Can't lie, I didn't. But I'm happy to be back. I'm joking. Obviously, yeah, I definitely missed you guys, which is why I'm recording now. I feel like it's a responsibility of mine to do what you guys tell me to do as a result of you telling me that it actually helps you. And I am honored and glory be to God for that. Um, okay, so it's been pressing in my heart to do a video like this because by the grace of God, I am someone now who more or less has access to a lot of people around the world. And it's different types of people. Very powerful people to very simple people, very wicked people to very loving people, very spiritual people to very atheist people. And it's giving me a good spectrum of understanding of a lot of things. But my thing now is I really have to question what society is becoming. You see, we are living in a very fast world right now. We live in a world where content is the means of communication, you know. Some people will tell you that it feels like they've seen you so much just based off Instagram or Twitter, but the truth is they probably saw you last maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And that's because of how social media makes things feel like it's in proximity. And that I am discovering is warping the way we relate with each other as human beings. I'm just going to use one very typical example. So obviously I'm going to speak from the standpoint of what my life is, and I happen to work in the music industry. And as a result of that, I get a lot of DMs, mentions, messages, etc. And I tend to see the mindset of the individuals that approach me just by the way they do it. Because nothing is new under the sun. It's not about what you're doing, it's about how it's done. And your how reflects the mindset. And what I've come to realize is our generation feels like suffering is how would I put it? Okay, this is the best way I'll put it. I've come to realize that people don't want to suffer, right? But at the same time, they want success. And fundamentally, you can only become successful through suffering. And I'll explain to you what that means. Suffering doesn't mean like you're living in despair or you're living in abject poverty. No, suffering is a mental thing. Suffering is literally the disintegration of your mental as a result of life's challenges knocking you down, you know. And that's why some people say poverty starts in the mind. You know, the ability to earn money comes from service, because a lot of people say make money. You can't make money, you're not a printing press, but you can earn money. But earning money requires service, right? And service requires responsibility, which is what I'm going to focus on today: responsibility. I feel we're living in a society right now where that word isn't pushed enough, because you can't even talk about rights if you don't talk about responsibility, because someone's responsibility is your right. Do you understand? As a child, it is your right to be taken care of because you are a child, you didn't ask to be here, but that's the parent's responsibility. As a country, it is your right that you have good health care, that you have stable electricity, but that's somebody else's responsibility. So if all we talk about are rights, and at no point we don't, and at any point we don't speak about responsibility, then what we have is literally questions upon questions upon questions upon questions with no answers, like a dog chasing its tail. And when you have that as a mass movement within society, what you have is utter chaos and confusion, which is why, if you notice, most times the same conversations are had over and over again over the years on applications like Twitter. And for me, that's very dangerous, because if you don't focus on the things that are truly important, the things that feel urgent wouldn't take care of themselves. So for me, one of the things that I feel that is very important right now is just basically the way we handle ourselves online. I think I have to start there. Um, the reason why I say this is because society has become global as a result of these online platforms. And if we don't have, because with freedom also comes responsibility. So there's freedom to speak, there's freedom to tweet, there's freedom to post. But if you don't have responsibility, then your freedom becomes your curse, which is actually what's happening right now. And the more people, and the thing about responsibility is you can't impose it on another. There has to be a certain level of self awareness that makes you understand that, yo, I need to take care of myself so that I can take care of my environment. And taking care of yourself, there are spectrums, There's obviously your health, there's obviously your physical, like, whether you're in shape, whether you can run, all of that, whether you're in shape. And there's your spiritual. There's your spiritual, sorry, a criminal was calling me. There's your spiritual. And for me, it's kind of like this. If you are not doing the intrinsic work, it doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter how far you go in your career, because you will reach a threshold where the things you haven't worked on will literally collapse you. Because what I've discovered is, if you're talented, the world will embrace you, but your character is what preserves you. Do you understand? And for me, love is the compass for navigation. So if you don't have love, you're just going to be going in circles, because what is leading you? Is it your desire to want something from somebody? Or is it your desire to elevate in a certain... It doesn't matter. If you have love, what you do is pour into people, and as a result, people will remember you. And that's really the game. How to be remembered. That's the game. I've said a lot of things, but I'm just going to go back to what I was talking about my standpoint of view, just based on the work I do. I see a lot of people on Twitter defend their favorite artists by comparing their favorite artist with another artist, right? And this is just like a very brief example of what I'm going to get into. You see, the joke is always on the person that is cracking the joke, especially on Twitter. And I'll give you a couple of reasons. When you compare two people that do two different things but are under the same field, first of all, there's no basis for comparison. So what you've done is created an illusion for you to subscribe to. The second thing is, that illusion you have created for you to subscribe to, you're only going to attract more delusional people and enjoy the temporary emotions that come with being, for lack of a better word, confused. I think the best way I can describe it is, when a bunch of drunk people come together and enjoy drunkenness. It's kind of like, you're all drunk, you're all confused, you're all not here, but because you're together, it's a vibe, right? This is what I'm talking about. And from the standpoint of human interaction, when I see things like this in public, it makes me understand two things. The first one is, you can't give what you don't have, right? So most times these people are not happy, because if what you're doing is rallying up people to bash people as a result of something you've expressed, then what does that say about you? The person you're comparing and contrasting is living their life and actually doing something as a result of you talking about them. But what does it say about you? That's number one. Number two, most importantly, don't you have dreams? Like, don't you have ambitions? Don't you wake up burning with desire to actually be something in life, right? And if the answer is yes, how does this benefit you? And that's why I say it really boils down to one thing, which is the way you carry yourself in society and the way we interact with people in society, online or offline. Because if you, and I always tell Thames this, if you focus on the tree, you never have to worry about the fruit. What am I saying? If within character, you are somebody that people feel happy to be around, right? I promise you'll be preserved. Because even if you're not the smartest or the most talented, you will be remembered because of the feeling that you have given them. I always tell people, in death, you don't remember the accolades, you remember the feeling. When somebody dies and you're looking at them as the casket is dropping in, you don't think, man, this guy had 10 Rolls Royces, or man, this guy charted #1, or man, this one had a banging movie on Netflix. You just think, damn, I'm going to miss the times we laughed. I'm going to miss the advice he gave me. I'm going to miss the way he represented what was true, or she represented what was true. You're going to miss the intrinsic things. But if you don't have these things, then there will be nothing to miss. Do you understand? So society has a lot of rewiring to do, because I really feel I'm talking on this from a very surface level. There are deeper elements of our problem that has literally trickled down to things like wars. Another thing is this: you can't mask your living with lies. Do you understand? Like you can't keep postponing the things you're meant to do, and keep lying to yourself. You can't keep postponing things you're meant to do and keep lying to yourself that you're not doing this for a particular reason, because the truth is this: you will find any other reason to do the things that are convenient for you, but the work you're really meant to do to actually develop you wouldn't do, because it is not convenient. And the truth is, it's not about convenience when it comes to your life. It's really about progression. Because what type of person do you want to be when disaster comes? Because disaster is coming. Whether it's somebody being sick, your family, whether it's an unwarranted accident, whether it's an unexpected death. Like, what type of person do you want to be? Like, the thing is, the little things in your life should prepare you for these kind of things. But if you're so focused in things that don't actually concern you, then what are you preparing for? Life is not bants. Do you understand? Life is real. And if you don't believe me, just try and do something that you really want to do, but check in your bank account and see that you don't have the ability to do it. That is all within your control. Do you understand? The ability to earn is within your control. You just have to think and surround yourself with thinking people. Because at the end of the day, this life is not a joke. So yeah, I'm very passionate about topics like this, because like I said, I get a lot of messages, but when I see the way the messages are even presented, it's kind of like you haven't prepared. Like, nothing about your experience in real life has made you prepared for this. You haven't sat down to speak to people as to how do you think I should go about approaching people. What should I say? And also, what I'll say is, OGs in the game, take on people to mentor, because obviously people need guidance as well. I feel the dynamic of society right now is very, 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 very weird. Even the way, like, Twitter tries to pitch, like, women and men against each other is bizarre. Biologically, which is something I feel we don't even factor in when we talk about social cultural norms. Biologically, we are complementary pieces. The way a man is meant to complement the way a woman is. But there are so many rhetorics that are put into society that I feel clouds our judgment when it comes to the different sexes, men towards women and women towards men. Because we don't talk to the right people to have the right context. Women talk to women about men, men talk to men about women. We need to sit down together and have a conversation. Do you understand what I'm saying? As a society, so within your local community, or then your wider community, or then maybe your country, I don't know how that's going to ripple down, but real conversations have to be had, not to defend yourself, but to listen and understand. Because that's another thing. We're in a society where people just want to say their own. Nobody wants to hear. But for me, a smart person is not necessarily someone that has all the answers. A smart person is someone that asks the right questions, and the way they ask the questions. So the people I've been most impressed by are people that ask me questions that make me go, I don't even know the answer to that. Let me think, So yeah, like society, I pray for society, and I pray that we understand that this life thing is really about becoming somebody. And becoming doesn't have anything to do with wealth or fame or clout or any of these words that people use to iconize people. It's about who are you when nobody is looking. Who are you when nobody is looking, for real, for real? And life is meant to shape you through experiences, through learning, to become someone that people go, this was somebody that got it right, Well, I won't be too long on this one. I just feel I need to just blurt out some things as to how I feel we are functioning as a society based off a lot of things. But fundamentally, please let us remember our why. If you're becoming a better person, you're doing well, and a better person isn't necessarily all good all the time. Nah, a better person is putting yourself in situations that are uncomfortable, feeling your triggers, but overcoming them as a result of what you're trying to become. Because you do have your triggers, as a result of the things you've been through, but your emotions are there to tell you about yourself. Your emotions are not there for you to be consumed by and then absorb and then you embody and then you react. That's not what they're there for. But the mind is so powerful that sometimes you don't even realize when it's happened before it's happened. But what I'm trying to draw clarity into is the fact that your emotions are navigational tools for you to understand yourself. So if something happens and my chest starts feeling funny, the moment, like, and that happens in a split second, which your brain has analyzed something and then you feel it in your body. The moment my body indicates something, I have to go back to my mind and be like, what just happened? And that happens as well in a split second the more you practice. And it would allow for harmony in the way you interact with people. In order to have very good interpersonal skills, you have to contextualize things as accurately as possible. It's not a matter of how you see it. It's really about how it is, because there's so many layers to a story. It's one of the reasons why I don't like Twitter. Twitter just gives you one part of the story and everyone focuses on that part, and then that is it. Lynching, judgments. Oh, you are this, you are that. It's like, dude, there's so much that you haven't seen, and this clip doesn't even do what the reality is justice. So yeah, as you can see, like, this is a conversation that I can keep on going on and on about, because it just layers to the madness that we are becoming as a result of how accessible we are. I mean, just this morning, somebody randomly gave my number out to somebody, and I'm like, why didn't you ask me? Things like this, and the person said, oh, sorry, it's just business. You didn't bring business to me. You literally just told me that you gave somebody my number. Like, that's not business. And if it's business, there's my email. Do you understand? If it's real business, give them my email. Don't give them my number. But because people are lacking decorum as a result of proximity and social media, it's like those of us that actually understand how we want to be received in this world will set our boundaries and navigate properly. And at the end of the day, when one is talking and when the other is talking, at that point it's two opinions. But the moment one is right, it becomes fact. So me, by the special grace of God, I will keep on seeking truth. I pray you keep on seeking truth, and fundamentally seek truth to become better, so that people can literally see God's light shine through you. You can't do things that are typical. You can't do things that are expected. You can't do things that people would literally just be like, okay, you see, this is how this person is. You can't give them that, because as far as I'm concerned, an insult is an offer that I can refuse. So even if you receive it, don't give it back. Be the difference that society needs as a result of where society is going. Because the truth is this: if we all cave into the way we feel, who has a chance of survival? Who is beyond redemption? You understand? Like, there's no grace allowed for mistakes. There's no grace allowed for forgiveness. There's no grace allowed for letting things go. And who do you think is suffering, really? It's you. It's you that goes to bed with the thoughts that literally plague your body. So, yeah, this is another Turner One podcast. A different one, because I just have to express my frustration as a result of the things I see. But I'm not going to go on and on and on, because my camera battery is about to mod. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to be doing more like this, because I feel this life, we need guidance. And please, if you have videos that I can watch too, share, because me too, I need guidance. You understand? Nobody has this thing locked. Every experience is unique to the individual, but because word is law and principles are fundamentals, what we'll see is different stories with the same principles that apply within ourselves. So focus on the inside, focus on the intrinsic, and remember, be a responsible member of society. Stay blessed.